Happens to be 21st June. So happy International Day of Yoga. I did perform yoga in the morning, participated in the yoga celebration here at the Ministry of External Affairs. And there's yoga all over the world today. Anyway, happy International Day of Yoga to all of you. Let's begin the session. With that, I open the floor. Yeshi?
This is Yeshi Seli from the New Indian Express. I have two questions. One is, what is the death toll of Indians in the Hajj? And also, there is this French journalist who said that his visa has not been extended and he had to leave after 13 years. Any clarity on what happened?
Okay.
कादम्बिनी शर्मा फ्रॉम
Kadambini.
एनडीटीवी। सर हमारा सवाल यही है कि एग्जैक्ट नंबर जो हज में भारतीय मारे गए हैं उनका क्या है और किस प्रकार से वहाँ पर यहाँ पर उनके परिवारों को असिस्ट किया जा रहा है अगर एमईए की तरफ से या सरकार की तरफ से।
Madhu?
सर मधुरेंद्र, मैं न्यूज़ नेशन से मैं जानना चाहता हूं कि गलवान के 4 साल बीत चुके हैं। इस बीच डिसएंगेजमेंट का प्रोसेस जो है वो एज इट इज़ रुका हुआ है। क्या उस पर कोई अपडेट है? बैक चैनल से इंडिया और चाइना के बीच कुछ बातचीत और कोई हम नया ब्रेक थ्रू देख सकते हैं आने वाले दिनों में?
Siddhant?
So Siddhant from Beyond, my question is on the Canadian Parliament. They honoring Niger, who is a listed terrorist here in India. Your reaction? And my second question is on China. There have been reports of China keen on the direct plane service. What has been the Indian reaction on that?
Hi, so it's Krishan Kaushik from Reuters. There was a delegation of US lawmakers recently that met the Dalai Lama. Wanted to check if India has any comment on that.
Okay. Any more questions on the US delegation so that we can all answer it together? Please, Uma.
खासतौर पर सर आपका ध्यान चीन की तरफ से आने वाले बयानों की तरफ खींचना चाहूँगा, जिसमें उन्होंने जो कोर इंटरेस्ट्स है चाइना की, उसका ध्यान रखने के लिए अमेरिका को कहा। और ऐसे में जबकि वहाँ धर्मशाला में भारतीय विदेश मंत्रालय की तरफ से या हमारी सरकार की तरफ से कोई मौजूद नहीं था, क्या जो बयान है नैन्सी पेलोसी के, उससे भारत अपने आप को डिसोसिएट करता है?
ऋषभ, आपका सवाल इसी पे है जी, बताइए।
Good evening, sir. Rishabh from Times Now. So the congressional delegation also met External Affairs Minister as well as the Prime Minister. If we can have details on what was discussed and also India's stand on the statements made by Nancy Pelosi, the former Speaker of US Congress.
Okay. Any more question on this? Sudhi?
So, Shudhiranjan from Bloomberg, sir. We've seen the American delegations, statements in Dharamshala saying that US policy on China has changed, and the bill kind of shows that there is a distinct change in US policy. What is India's policy towards China? Does one China policy still stand?
Manas?
Good evening, Manas from PTI. Dalai Lama's succession is becoming an important geopolitical issue. Almost all the major powers have spoken about their position, including US. So what is India's position on Dalai Lama's succession? Thank you.
Okay. So with that, we have rounded up the questions on the visit of the US congressional delegation, I hope. So let me begin with the first, with answers to the question on US delegation, which visited Delhi and Dharamshala recently. It was a 7-member congressional delegation which visited India from 16th to 20th. It was led by the House of Representative, Chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Representative Michael McCall. They visited Dharamshala, as you know, on 18th and 19th, and thereafter they also had a meeting with a call on the Prime Minister. They also met External Affairs Minister and the Commerce and Industry Minister. all aspects of various aspects of India-US comprehensive strategic partnership was discussed in the meetings with the Prime Minister and with External Affairs and Commerce Minister. Uh, More on that, you would have seen there's a press release also which was issued after the call on the Prime Minister. So I will refer you to that. Uh, as far as the question of Dalai Lama is concerned, I would like to reiterate what our position is. The Government of India's position on His Holiness the Dalai Lama has been very clear and consistent. He is a revered religious leader and is deeply respected by the people of India. His Holiness is accorded due courtesies and freedom to conduct his religious and spiritual activities. As regard the statements made by the US delegation, I would say that you take your questions to them because they'll be in a better position to answer as to what they mean by it and what it is for them to answer these questions. So with that, I'll come to other questions. Yeshi, to begin with yours. Death toll in Hajj. A large number of Indian pilgrims visit Hajj every year. This year, 175,000 Indian pilgrims have visited Hajj so far. The core Hajj period is from, I think, May 9 to 22nd of July. So far, we've lost, or there are 98 Indians, pilgrims, who have died in Hajj. Sorry? Okay. I'll repeat let me get the figures right, please. So I was talking about each year we have a large number of Indians visiting Hajj for pilgrimage. This year we have 175,000 Indians who've already visited Hajj. The core Hajj period is from 9th May to 22nd of July. And so far we've lost 98 of our citizens. These deaths have happened on account of natural illness, natural causes, chronic illness, as also old age. On the day of Arafat, 6 Indians died, and 4 Indians have died on account of accidents. I would also like to tell you that last year the figure of Indians who died in Hajj was 187. So 187. टू आंसर कदमनी आपका सवाल कि हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, वहाँ जो हमारा हज मिशन जद्दा में है वो बड़े पैमाने पे काम करता है. वहाँ पर मेडिकल मिशन है, हॉस्पिटल हैं, एम्बुलेंसेज हैं, और जो सारी व्यवस्था है हमारे लोगों को देख रेख के लिए है. और जो भी वहाँ पर कुछ इस प्रकार का हादसा होता है, हम तुरंत उनके परिवारजनों से, लोगों से मिलते हैं, और जो भी कार्रवाई की जा सकती है वो काम हम लोग करते हैं. उनका सबका ध्यान रखा जाता है. आप देखेंगे, अगर आप जो हज मिशन का सोशल मीडिया हैंडल्स है या उसके अलावा जो प्रेस विज्ञप्ति वहाँ से जारी होता है उसको देखेंगे तो आपको पता चलेगा कितनी विस्तार में इंतज़ाम वहाँ किया जाता है लोगों के लिए. इस बार सुना है कि चूँकि बहुत गर्मी रही और ख़ासकर अराफात के दिन, जिस दिन जो मेन वहाँ पर जो लोग ज़्यादा श्रद्धालु आते हैं, काफ़ी लोग उस दिन हीट वेव के कारण हताहत हुए. कई एक दूसरे देशों के लोग उसमें हताहत ज़्यादा हुए. हमारे यहाँ से 6 लोग डे ऑफ अराफात के दिन उनका निधन हुआ. So on the French journalist, yes, Mr. Sebastian Farsis, he's an OCI card holder. If you are an OCI card holder, you need permission or work permit to carry on your journalistic activities. To the best of my knowledge, he applied in May of 2024, and his application is still under consideration. The question of his leaving the country, that is a decision that he has to, it's for him to take. If he has taken, that's fine, but his visa application is still under consideration. Sorry, his work permit application is still under consideration. He had reapplied it here in May of 2024. मधु, आपका सवाल गलवान को लेके है. गलवान को लेके हम लोग पहले भी कहा है कि दो तरफा हम लोग की बात चल रही है. एक मिलिट्री टू मिलिट्री लेवल पे और दूसरे राजनयिक लेवल पे। जब ज्यों-ज्यों हमारी ये बातचीत चलती रहती है, मैं आपको इस मंच से और उसके अलावा प्रेस की विज्ञप्ति के ज़रिए आपको बताते हैं कि क्या प्रोग्रेस हो रहा है। लेकिन हम लोग चाहते हैं कि जो सीमावर्ती क्षेत्र है, उस पे शांति बहाल हो ताकि चीज़ें आगे जा सकें। Siddhant, your question regarding Canadian Parliament observing 2-minute silence. See, we naturally oppose any moves giving political space to extremism and those advocating violence. So that is our position on this particular issue that you raised. कनाडा के पार्लियामेंट में जो वहाँ पर गतिविधि हुई, उसके लेके हम लोग ये कहना चाहते हैं कि जो राजनयिक स्पेस दिया जाता है एक्सट्रीमिस्ट को और जो लोग हिंसा भड़काने का काम करते हैं, इन सब चीज़ों को हम लोग अपोज करते हैं। Siddhant, also to answer your question regarding economic links, linkages, business, etc. On that, we have been very consistent in our articulation. I have spoken from this platform. Our external affairs minister has spoken. Our leadership has spoken that peace and tranquility on the border is important for our ties with China to become normal. Krishan, I did answer your question. So with that, we can move forward. Okay.
Hi, Samira
Please.
Hussain from BBC
Yes,
News.
Samira, please.
Hi. There is an upcoming debate in the United States between Presidents Biden and President Trump. I am wondering what the Indian take is on the upcoming presidential election and what you may or may not be anticipating in terms of whichever person comes into power again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Reza?
Reza from Hindustan Times. Following the deaths of 2 more Indians serving with the Russian military, India had asked for a verified stop to the recruitment of Indians. Have we heard back from the Russians on this? Do we have any figures of how many Indians are actually serving with the Russian forces and how many have asked to come back?
Okay. Sudhi.
So, Shudhiranjan again, and thank you for allowing me another question. So, External Affairs Minister was in Sri Lanka. If you could give us some more details on his discussions, because he met a lot of political leaders across the spectrum. Also wondering, did India raise the Kachitigu issue, which we saw being raised a couple of weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, what was Sri Lanka's response?
Enjoy.
Yes, sir. So, in these last few weeks and more than one dossier on Khalistani terrorists have been given from different sections of the government to Canada. Have we got a reply? And if there is a reply, what is it?
Manas?
Manas from PTI. Since April, we have seen media reports in the Australian media about expulsion of Indians, unspecified number of Indian spies from Australia, since reports of nest of spies came out in 2020. So could you verify whether 4 Indians have been expelled by Australia as reported by the Australian media? And has there been any reciprocal action by India? Have we also expelled any Australian personnel operating from Delhi since Australia expelled our personnel? Thank you.
Okay. We'll come back, huh? Samira, your question on the debate. Well, the United States is a democracy, like India is a democracy. What United States chooses or will choose is for the people of United States to decide. As far as we are concerned, we are, there is bipartisan support on India-US relationship in the country, and it was very well demonstrated by the visit of bipartisan Codel, which came to India recently as well. So that is how we look at it. It's for the people of United States to decide what sort of democracy, what sort of political formation they would like to have as a government. Reza, your question on the two deaths, we have been we have again taken up the issue, and we have been continuing uh, with this process. We are engaged with the Russian authorities both here in New Delhi as also in Moscow, so that people who are serving in the Russian army, they can be released and repatriated to India as soon as possible. Uh, the number of people who have contacted us so far, as I told you earlier, is between 20 25 people who contacted us because as they wanted to be released. Of those, 10 people have actually been released and repatriated back to India. Of the two people who've died recently, we are in touch with their family members. We also are in touch with the Russian Defense Ministry and the Foreign Ministry so that the mortal remains can be brought to India as soon as possible. Uh, on the verified stop, yes, we had sort of verified stop to recruitment, and we have taken up this issue with all sincerity with the Russian authorities, with the expectation that they're going to act, and action will be, it's a matter of utmost and deep concern to us, and the Russian authorities will act on it soon. Today on the Sri Lanka visit, mm, External Affairs Minister had visited Sri Lanka yesterday. This was his first bilateral visit to any country after being sworn in as External Affairs Minister yet again. We had given a press release yesterday, which it's a detailed one, which I would urge you to have a look at. External Affairs Minister's visit underscores India's primacy that we accord to Sri Lanka in a neighborhood first policy, as also a Sagar vision policy. External Affairs Minister he called on the President of Sri Lanka. He also called on the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, His Excellency Mr. Dinesh Gunawardene. Thereafter, they had delegation level talks in which several ministers uh, from the Sri Lankan side they were present. President Vikramasinghe and External Affairs Minister, they handed over 48 houses under Model Village Housing Project in Colombo and Trincomalee. I would also like to point your attention that during the visit, Maritime Rescue Coordination Center, which is a very important platform for search and rescue operation at sea, which was established with India's grant of $6 million, was also jointly commissioned uh, in a virtual ceremony. Apart from that, External Affairs Minister called on leader of opposition. He also had separate meetings with former President of Sri Lanka, His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, um, and a broad range of leaders from across political spectrum and parties. Uh, More details, if I would urge you to look at the press release. It has more details in regard to the visit. It was a one-day visit. This is External Affairs Minister's fifth visit, I would recall, in the recent past. Four times that he visited was in January of 2021, March of 2022, January of 2023, and October of 2023. The series of these visits, it underscores the kind of importance that we attach to our neighborly relations with Sri Lanka. Shinjoy, regarding your question on terrorism, time again we've said that uh, this is a matter of serious concern for us. Khalistani activities, we have been repeatedly calling upon the government of Canada to take action. We have said that political space that is provided to extremist anti-India elements and those advocating violence must stop, and they must take action. Manas, your question regarding the documentary, Uh, you asked some very specific questions. It is a documentary, and I would like to respond on the documentary per se, because the documentary has several elements to it, and it contains blatant untruths. Please, I would urge you to please uh, have a look at the documentary. Is biased and reflects unprofessional reporting. It appears to serve a particular agenda to malign India. We obviously oppose any such attempts to condone, justify, or even glorify terrorism. So I would urge you that this particular documentary has needs to be seen in the light that I've just said. Sorry.
Was there any reciprocal action by India? I mean,
No, no. This is a documentary where she has talked about several issues. I don't want to go into all those issues. As far as we are concerned, I have told you the very basis of this documentary is something which is questionable. It is based on blatant untruths. Let me repeat, blatant untruths, and it has unprofessional reporting. It is biased, and it reflects of a certain agenda. Can we take more questions? So we'll start from this side.
Sir, I'm Sahil from ANI. My question is that what is India's take on Khalistan extremists holding a so-called citizens' court in Canada?
Okay, Rishabh.
So Rishabh again from Times Now. So last week we saw this tragedy unfolding in Kuwait. Now the new report suggests that Kuwaiti authorities have also offered ex gratia of $15,000 per people per deceased for the family. If you can confirm the same.
Okay. Abhishek.
Sir, it's Abhishek Jha from CNN News 18. My question is regarding we are going to observe this the 39th anniversary of Kanishka bombing. And I believe there has not been any concrete proof or evidence that would suggest the blame on who did that, but we believe the Khalistani elements were behind that. In the wake of recent resurgence of Khalistani activism in Canada, how do you see the overall security situation? Especially, they have now threatened Indian citizens also not to board the Indian Airlines plane, especially on 23rd June. So, does that also amount some kind of terroristic threat?
Thank you, sir. This is Rajesh Mishra from Kantipur Media Group, Nepal. Sir, in the third term of Modi ji government, will the neighborhood first policy come in more effectively? Second query is, this time from which neighboring country is Modi ji making his first visit? Thank you.
Okay. Please.
सर मैं नीरज दुबे प्रभा साक्षी से सर अभी मेरा सवाल जयशंकर जी की जो श्रीलंका यात्रा थी उसी को लेकर है। उसमें आपने जो अभी विस्तार से जानकारी दी तो आप उसको ज़रा हिंदी में दोहरा दीजिए। और मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि क्या कच्चा टीवी को लेकर भी बातचीत हुई थी, क्योंकि लोकसभा चुनाव के दौरान वो मुद्दा काफ़ी उठा था। प्रधानमंत्री जी भी श्रीलंका जाने वाले हैं, और क्या पड़ोसी देश में पहला श्रीलंका ही होगा जहाँ पर प्रधानमंत्री जाएंगे?
Okay, Ishi.
Is PM expected likely to go for the SEO summit to Astana next month?
Okay. So Reza and
Thank you for allowing a second question. Reza from the Hindustan Times. I was just wondering, do we have an update on the issue of Nikhil Gupta now that he's been extradited to the US? Are we going to seek consular access, or has he asked for consular access?
please.
Shiv Narayan from News Laundry. I have follow-up question on French journalist Sebastian Fassis. Has the French government taken up with the India? Taken up this issue with India?
So one last question there.
Yeah,
I have a long
thank you.
list.
I'm Gautam Lahiri. Within a span of only 10 days, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is visiting India. I know that tomorrow is a bilateral meeting, but the point is, what is the expectation of India? It seems there is some kind of an urgency to talk with the Prime Minister of Bangladesh.
Then I'll mix. Can we come back to you? Okay. Sahil, your question regarding Citizens Court, we have strongly protested with the Canadian High Commission here. Uh, such uh, such courts or such gathering is not helpful at all. It undermines, and we have strongly taken it up with them and told them to uh, take action as appropriate in the matter. Rishabh, your question is regarding Kuwait compensations. So, this fire tragedy happened on 12th of June. Uh, 45 people, 45 Indians have passed away, died. Their mortal remains were brought to India on 14th. Uh, there are still 17 Indians who are injured and in hospital, but they are all stable. And the embassy is making daily rounds. The embassy is in touch with local authorities, the hospital authorities, and even the patients and their family members to ensure their well-being. As far as compensation is concerned, you would have seen reports that Prime Minister has announced that very day on 13th an ex gratia payment of 2 lakhs for people who died and 50,000 for people who were injured. In addition, different state governments have also announced their compensation for those who have died and who have died in this tragedy. On the part of the Kuwaiti government, the Emir has announced US dollar 15,000 as compensation to people who've died. The company has announced payment of rupees 8 lakhs to the next of kin for people who've died. They've also, in addition, the insurance money also will come from the insurance company. The company is also providing a compensation of 2 lakhs to all those who are injured, plus their medical expenses are being covered by the company, and the company will also undertake rehabilitation of those who are injured. So that was on the compensation part. Abhishek, on Kanishka bombing, we have told you that the question of political space being given by Canada to extremists, to people who advocate violence, people who advocate anti-India agenda, is the real problem, and therefore we have time and again been insisting that the Canadian authorities take strict action against them. The question that you raised must be seen in that context. Rajesh, neighborhood policy, of course, is very important for us. It was on display when the swearing-in ceremony happened. We had the Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, participating in the swearing-in ceremony. That itself reflects the importance we attach to our neighboring countries, including Nepal. Nepal is we have very special relationship with Nepal, and these ties will continue to be strengthened in the days ahead. नीरज, आप श्रीलंका के विदेश मंत्री के श्रीलंका के दौरे के बारे में पूछ रहे थे। तो कल का दौरा रहा उनका, एक दिवसीय दौरा था, लेकिन पिछले कुछ सालों में ये 5वां दौरा है विदेश मंत्री का। इससे आपको पता चल सकता है, ये साफ ज़ाहिर है किस प्रकार का रिश्ता हमारा श्रीलंका के साथ है। वहाँ पर विदेश मंत्री की बातचीत वहाँ के राष्ट्रपति से हुई, वहाँ के प्रधानमंत्री से हुई। उसके अलावे उन्होंने साथ में मिलके वहाँ अपने जो विदेश मंत्री हैं श्रीलंका के, उनसे बातचीत की, डेलीगेशन लेवल बातचीत हुई। उसके अलावा उन्होंने कई सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स, डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स, हाउसिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स को जॉइंटली इनॉग्रेट भी किया वहाँ के राष्ट्रपति के साथ। और एक जो जैसे मैं बताया कि मैरीटाइम रेस्क्यू सेंटर, उसका भी उद्घाटन वर्चुअल तरीके से किया गया। ये एक भारतीय ग्रांट दिया गया था 6 मिलियन यूएस डॉलर्स का, उसके तहत बनाया गया है ये सेंटर। विदेश मंत्री यात्रा के दौरान वहाँ के पूर्व राष्ट्रपति से भी मिले, उसके अलावा वहाँ पर जो लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन है वहाँ पर उनसे मिले, और वहाँ के अन्य जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज हैं उनके जो नेतागण हैं उनसे ही मिले। इससे साफ जाहिर होता है कि भारत श्रीलंका मैत्री, भारत श्रीलंका रिश्ते पर वहाँ पर एक बाईपार्टिसन सपोर्ट बना हुआ है, और ये हमारे रिश्तों के लिए बड़ा बढ़िया है। Ishi, a question regarding Prime Minister's visit. We will let you know of the visit as and when these things are finalized. As you know, we announce these visits closer to the date. It's still some distance away. So you'll come to know of our participation as CEO. Reza, on Nikhil Gupta, he was extradited to the United States on 14th of June. We have so far not received any request for consular access from Mr. Gupta, but his family has got in touch with us, and we are in touch with the family members, and we are looking at the matter as to what can be done on the request. On Sebastian Shiv, what was your question? So that question you must take to the French government. Whether the French government has taken it up with us, you must take that question with them, whether they have taken it up with us or not.
Because it happened in the Vanessa.
See, this gentleman he reapplied for his work permit in May of this year.
That was not the first time. First time was in August last year.
That's fine, but he's again reapplied, and the matter is under consideration. That is the information I have. Gautam, sorry? But he's again reapplied. So the matter is under consideration. No? So you're saying that he has, as far as I know, his application, he has reapplied, and his reapplied application is under consideration. He had made an application. There may have been other issues, I don't know. But his application, he has reapplied for journalistic permission. If you look at his letter that he's put in the public domain, it also says that he has reapplied and it is under consideration. He also thinks that it will be granted. Please have a look at his letter. We have this tendency of going overboard without going into details of what the literature is in the letter. So, sorry. Gautam, your question regarding the visit, the state visit of Prime Minister of Bangladesh is to happen. She's to arrive shortly. She was to arrive at 4 o'clock. We're waiting at the airport. We have a full delegation waiting at the airport to receive her. The state visit will commence today. It's a very important visit for us. The first state visit from the neighboring countries. Both sides have a lot of expectation because the relationship is so special and so friendly. Tomorrow you'll get more details of all the things that are there in the offing, the discussions, the MOUs, the agreements, all that will be signed. But both sides are committed to deepen this and strengthen this very special partnership that we have with Bangladesh. Please.
Thank you. Wael Awad from Sana. Actually, my question is regarding yesterday's President of Russia, Putin, was speaking of reviewing the nuclear doctrine of Russia, especially following the dismantling or all the agreement of the United States. Do you have any comment on this? And if India is in the near future also thinking of reviewing its nuclear doctrine? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. My name is Keshav. I'm from The Print. My first question is regarding the visit of Sheikh Hasina. Is there any movement on the tripartite power pact with Nepal and Bangladesh, and is that expected to be discussed tomorrow? And the second question is, yesterday our Prime Minister spoke with the President-elect of Indonesia. Were discussions on the Sabang port deal possibly discussed, and are there any details on that? Thank you.
So Keshav, first on the visit of Bangladesh Prime Minister. The details of the visit you will come to know tomorrow. 3 o'clock tomorrow we have a press engagement where a special briefing by the Foreign Secretary will be done post visit of the Prime Minister, discussions of the Prime Minister with our Prime Minister. So you will come to know of all that we together agree to do on trade, on defense, on connectivity, so on and so forth. So cordially, you're invited. Um, on the question of the telephone call between President and Prime Minister, we had, um, we have warm and friendly relations with Indonesia. We want to do very many things with them. This was an introductory call, first call after Prime Minister was sworn in his historic third term. Um, so it's a good beginning. We look forward to strengthening our partnership with Indonesia, a G20 country, and a very multifaceted partnership that we have with that country. On a question on nuclear doctrine, India's nuclear doctrine, we are very clear, and it has our guidelines are laid down. As far as nuclear doctrine of third country is concerned, we would not like to comment on it. With that, let us come to a close. Thank you very much. Hope to see you tomorrow for the special briefing by Foreign Secretary.